You may or may not be aware of this, but SpaceX has their own space race going on inside the company. They're building 2 Starship rocket boosters in 2 different locations. One in Boca Chica, Texas, and the other in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Now, the Boca Chica location is a little bit more straightforward in terms of where it's going to launch from. The facility is right along the water in the Gulf of Mexico. It clearly has a trajectory path it can go on that's not going to impact homes or private property. But Cocoa Beach is a little bit different. They've been building this booster in like the middle of a city, which presents a problem, as I'm sure you can imagine, because you don't want to be launching your brand new, unproven shiny rocket over inhabited areas. Anyways, they can't do it from there. It needs to be moved. This is not going to be very easy. SpaceX's Cocoa Beach location is 22 miles from their launch facility at Kennedy Space Center. You're not going to be able to just take this thing and put it on its side and drive it down roads. It's 180 feet tall. Is that what it is? This spacecraft is 180 feet long, more than half the size of a football field. You're never going to get that thing to twist and turn around any city roads in the United States. So you got to be a little bit creative with how you're going to get it to the launch facility. And SpaceX is doing just that, breaking the rules, making new rules, doing what they want because that's what they do. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's a great thing. It's exciting. I need to give credit to Mike DeForest and Emily Speck. They're 2 journalists in the Orlando area who did their own investigative journalism and was able to dig up this entire plan. So credit goes to them in terms of where I got this information from. So from the looks of permit applications SpaceX has been facilitating, they are going to truck vertically, maybe in 2 sections. This is still a gray area right now. They'll be trucking these very tall sections of Starship to a barge in the Indian River where it will be unloaded and taken up the river north and offloaded near NASA's Vehicle Assembly Building. Now, this is not necessarily a new process for NASA. For decades, the external tank for the space shuttle was offloaded right outside of the Vehicle Assembly Building from that creek through barges. So this should be a pretty seamless process once it gets to Kennedy Space Center. From there, it's speculated that the Starship is going to be trucked over to Pad 39A, where SpaceX already has an existing launch platform and facilities. We'll be able to do the final assembly of the booster and begin test launches by the end of the year. So I know this isn't a super sexy story, but there's a lot of logistics that go into this and really impact the local community. Power lines and telephone lines and communication lines need to be moved out of the way so that this huge structure can just move down the road a few miles. You might also be asking yourself, why is SpaceX building this rocket like away from NASA, like off of Kennedy Space Center's facilities? And there's good reason for that. Because NASA. It's much easier for SpaceX to build this rocket on their own private property so they don't have to worry about the feds essentially getting involved with their creative process. They need to build this rocket in their own space so that when they bring it to NASA, it's ready for the show. Also, there is the Commercial Crew Program and the existing contracts SpaceX has with their Falcon 9 and their Falcon Heavy. So if they were to bring this massive manufacturing process to the Cape, that could really intimidate potential customers and NASA because they're now taking on a lot in the small facility that is really just meant to be used for the Falcon 9 and the Falcon Heavy. There's a lot of angles at play here, but really it's in the best interest of creating the best product. And because nobody likes to make space travel easy, there's one more animal in the way of moving Starship to Cape Canaveral, and that is the gopher tortoise. They're an endangered species that predominantly live in Southeast United States, and of course several of them have decided to make homes near where SpaceX is building their Starship. Well, likely their homes are already there, but SpaceX then came and started this whole process. And they need to build a temporary roadway from where they're building Starship to the local roads that are going to be moving the ship, and the tortoises are there. So SpaceX, along with the state or city or whomever municipality, is having them move the tortoises to a safe location. According to Jared Frankel, who's a local, space enthusiast, he's found that the tortoises have been relocated, so that is good news. So the turtles will now not get in the way of Starship. Anyways, I hope you learned something new. I thought this would just be a fun side story that you don't really hear covered all that often, and hopefully we'll see some Starship launches before 2020 gets to us. All right. Hope you have a great day. I'll see you guys next time. Later.